There we go. Okay. So, examples, some mixed practice. And like I said, you'll probably want to put these just right on the back of your book. You can take a piece of this if you want.
Why aren't you recording?
I am recording.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah. You want to, Evan? This means now everybody who watches this video has to sit and watch me hand out paper.
Yes.
It's all right.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
You're not going to edit that out?
Oh, I don't take the time to edit. I just let it be messy. Okay. And actually, I'm going to switch pens here, too. So first one. Number 1 is x over 4 to the power of negative 2. And I did this specifically so that you would see how it works when you have a fraction raised to a power. Okay? Anytime you are taking a fraction and raising it to a power, that power applies to the top and the bottom of the fraction. So what this is really saying is x to the negative 2 and 4 to the negative 2. Okay? So that negative 2 goes on the top and on the bottom. Which means they're both unhappy, right?
Yeah,
So they're both going to switch places, yep. So what's going to happen is that 4 to the negative 2, I'm going to do 4 to the power of 2, which is 16, and put that up on the top. And then on the bottom, that x to the negative 2, once I move it to the bottom, will just be x squared. Yep. 16 over x squared. Good.
What?
We need that again? I took the negative 2.
Okay,
No, you good? Okay.
For sure?
Yep.
Really?
All right, let's do another one. Here we go. This is where they get really fun.
Oh, yeah.
Fun.
I know. That's what I like to hear. Okay, here's what I would do with something like this. I would start inside the parentheses and simplify anything that I can, and then worry about that negative 3 floating around outside. I also would not worry about placing any of the negative exponents in the right places until the end. Okay, I would just leave everything negative and then at the end sort it all out. So inside the parentheses, this is division. So what do I do with the 6 and the 3? I divide it because it's division. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. What do I do with the exponents? Subtract. So 2 minus 9 is negative 7. 5 minus 2 is 3. And I know you're thinking that that's going to have to go on the bottom someplace. It will, but let's wait till the end. Because this whole thing is still being raised to the power of negative 3, and that might mess things up a little bit. Now I'm in my last step. My last step is to take all of this and raise to the power of negative 3. So this is where I would start sorting things out. I would say, I know I'm going to have a top, I know I'm going to have a bottom. So 2 to the power of negative 3 really means to do what?
Multiply 2, 3.
Okay, so I'm doing 2 to the third power. What's up with the negative? Okay, so I'm going to go 2 to the third power, which is 8, and put my answer on the bottom of the fraction. Okay, that's what the negative tells you. What's your rule for raising a power to a power? To multiply, okay? When you're raising a power to a power, you multiply. So this is going to be negative 7 times negative 3, which gives you positive 21, right? Okay, so if it's positive 21, does that go on top or bottom? Okay, that's why I wouldn't mess around with trying to put it on the bottom back here, because for all you know, it's going to end up back on the top when you put that on it. So negative 7 and negative 3 makes positive 21. And then here, 3 times negative 3 makes negative 9, which means this goes on the bottom, And when I put it on the bottom, it doesn't need to be negative anymore. So final answer looks a little weird because I made my fraction bar too big, but it would be p to the 21st power over 8r to the 9th. Okay.
Fun.
Good. That's what I like to hear. If you like that one, you'll love this one.
Oh, yes.
I bet I will.
Here, let me do 3 or 4.
We're just going to do 3 of them. I had 4 of them on my paper, but we'll just do 3. If you want to see the other one, you can go look at those pictures that I put. What's that? Oh. Okay, copy that down.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point there.
Not cheating if you're copying the question.
I don't know.
Well, just that it's copying.
Write it down. Just write it down.
Your work.
Okay, so order of operations says to start inside the parentheses. Now when I look in here, is there anything inside the parentheses that can be simplified? No. As opposed to like this one right inside the parentheses, I could do that division. But here, there's nothing I can do on the inside of the parentheses. So then I go to exponents, and I have this exponent floating around out here. So I'm going to start with that. But that only applies to this parenthesis, not this one. So I'm going to do 2 to the 3rd power, which is 8, not 6. I'm going to go down here for these. Okay, remember that's 2 to the 3rd is 2 times 2 times 2. My powers, I'm going to multiply. So 2 times 3 is 6. This becomes m to the 6. That n right now has a 1 on it, so 1 times 3 is 3. And 5 times 3 is 15, so this becomes p to the 15. So that's just the first bracket. Okay. Now, this one's going to stay the same because there's nothing else outside of this one that's going to change anything. Okay. Now, what kind of problem is this if I've got 2 sets of parentheses next to each other? It's multiplication. So, thank you.
Wow.
So I'm going to, but first, what am I going to do with the 8 and the 4? Am I going to add those? No, I'm just going to multiply. So 8 times 4 is 32. But then Cam's right. The rest of these I'm going to add. So m to the 6th and m to the 3rd is going to become m to the 9th. N to the 3rd and n to the negative 6, I'm going to do 3 plus negative 6, which is negative 3. And then 15 plus 2 is 17.
Yeah, we did it.
What's wrong with that answer? Okay, I've got this n with a negative exponent. Everything else is good, but where do I need to put that n? Okay, so for my final answer, I would write 32 m to the 9th. I don't know why I wrote it way over here. P to the 17th over n to the 3rd. Okay. Equals. Does that make sense? So all of this stayed the same. I just moved that n to the 3rd downstairs. Okay? That's kind of what we're going to get into today. And this is what your quiz on Friday is going to look like. It's going to be problems like this. Good? Class is almost over with.
It is.